Hello, hello! Welcome to another Mac84 live stream. I am Steve, and welcome to the live stream. I was watching the wrong video feed, and I didn't know I was going on this second. I thought I had a few more seconds, so you caught me by surprise. My goodness. Hope everyone is doing well today. Let me know if the sound is okay. Let me know if the audio is okay, because that's how things are. Alright, we got the cat emoji. We're good. We are good. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone is doing okay. I am about sick to death of this snow. I know Jay wishes I could transport it all there, and if I could, I would. A lot less shoveling on my end. So, my goodness, we got 20 people already. Let's see who we got here. We got Jay, we got Trina, we got Josh, lucky guy from the other stream. We have Sadmac, we have, who else? We have Jay Fox, we have... let's see. We have Scholar. We have Amaral. We have Mickey. We have Orlando. Welcome to Video City. He fights for the users. And we have, who else is here? Retro Techie and Neo. And Ashton and Ms. Neb. Hello. Mr. Macintosh. Welcome. Let's see. Anybody else I skipped up? David's here. NK Morpheus is here. Vandal Industries. Always cracks me up. And let's see, and who else? Commodore Fan is here, and all right. So it looks like everybody is here, and my iBook finally booted up. I'm trying to recover a floppy disk, and it's not really going as well as I planned. And Bruce is here. Oh, now we can get started. And Greg, then welcome, Greg. All right, so let me just try and copy this again. There's one file on this disk I've been trying to copy off. And I don't want to move the file, I want to copy it. Every time I try and copy the file, it gives me an error. And it's a disk full of drawings I made as a kid. July 27th, 1995 to be precise. And so I am very curious what is on here. Hopefully the disk isn't damaged. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Bryce, Bruce, whoever. Cannot be read. Disk error occurred. You're a disk error. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Well, I'm not going to give up on that disk because it's a 344 kilobyte file. And I think we could get it working one of these days. But, Caesar, hello, welcome to the stream. Oh boy, I love you guys making up your own canon as you go. All right, let me just copy the rest of these things off of here. Yeah, I've tried with my Quadro to get the data off of this disk, and it just puts the machine into a weird loop. It does not like it. Yeah. Yeah, David, I have never played around with that stuff. I don't know if any of that stuff is made to be compatible with older Apple stuff. I mean, it's an Apple formatted disk, Macintosh formatted disk, but yeah. So, alrighty. Our sister, we have a bunch of people joining. So, hello. So, not really entirely sure what I'm going to be working on today. That's why I left the title so generic. I have a few things that I have to get working on. Or rather, a few things I have to get working. One of them is a nasty Macintosh SE. Well, not nasty, but it doesn't want to work. Yeah, I guess I could use some recovery software. I was just trying to copy it off the disk first, so we're going to eject it from the USB floppy drive so we don't wear the poor thing out. That's a very interesting story. Alright, so we're going to let the little iBook sleep there so we could pay attention to what we're doing. Yes, the old Mac OS. That's exactly what we're all about here. Commodore or Atari? Well, I can't do anything in Commodore because all the Commodore floppy drives I want to test are in the garage. And there's about 1.5 feet of snow blocking me from getting in there. So that's going to be a no. The Atari stuff is all packed away in a bin. So, minor update for anybody who was not privileged to be part of our insanity that was our cleaning streams. So let me bring it a bit closer and let me look at the view. There we go. So I am cleaning up my basement, and the idea is to make a room out of one of the smaller sections of my basement. So I'll actually have my streaming desk there, and I'll have shelves and everything. It'll be all nice and organized. Problem is, there's a bunch of junk. By junk, I mean computers all over the place. So in order to set up those shelves and move things around, it's going to take some time. So I added the other shelf over there, as you can see, in the right corner, right below the light. And so the reason it's away from the wall is there's a pipe that's sticking out there. So tomorrow, or sometime soon, I'm going to go and get a saw and cut through that pipe and recap it. It's just a drainage pipe. But yes, I'm recapping the pipe. Then I'm going to move everything from the left shelf over to the right shelf. Then I can move that left shelf and move the plastic white shelf that's behind it and get all that crap out of the way. Then there's going to be a third metal shelf identical to both of those that's going to be sandwiched right between the middle. Everything should fit with about 8 inches of clearance to the left or the right. So that is the rough plan, and that is why I've been sort of a mess lately. Yeah, there's a little... Everyone always sees the cubes. There's not... What? Everyone always counts 3. I see 2. I think everyone just likes to pretend there's more. So, yeah, there's dig a deeper basement is no. I'm just kidding. Don't worry about it, Greg. It's funny though because everyone always thinks there's more than there are. But yeah, if I could, I would. JJ, thank you very much. That is very, very cool. UMax that used as a graphic. Very nice. So Bruce also had some Macintosh clones and is also located in Australia. So there you go. You have some bonding material there. Let's see. One apple box that looks like one. I'm feeling more cubes. Yeah. So there's 2 cubes there. Yeah. There's one on the top shelf, one on the middle shelf. So I don't know what else you're seeing. There is a iMac that has the Apple logo on it, but that's sort of hidden, so I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, so I have been cleaning up, and that's going to be... oh, awesome! Yes, the name does sound familiar. So, welcome. Glad you're here. Okay, sorry, just catching up here. Make your HyperCard stack. I'm not really good with HyperCard. I don't know about thermal paste. I'm really sorry. I'm not an expert on thermal paste. All the computers I use for the most part, not the modern ones, but the older ones, don't really need thermal paste. So, sorry. I really don't know the difference between them. So, yeah, a shuffling stream. No, thank you. Way too damn cold for that. So, yeah. So the idea is tomorrow I'm gonna get a cutaway rather, that pipe there, move that shelf over, have to move all the stuff from that shelf to that shelf, bring that other one out. The other problem is, right now in the garage, there's the third shelf there, but it's full of stuff. Just as much as that is full of stuff. In order to move that shelf here, I have to find a place for all that stuff. And the garage is already full with a bunch of iMac G3s all over the floor. So, and eventually the idea is, come the spring when I could actually, move around outside and not be freezing my butt off, is to build a new set of shelves in the garage. Now, I was originally going to build a set of shelves here with a desk and everything, but I realized the shelves that I have here, this unit right here, it's already pretty much at the limit of the height of the basement. So it wouldn't really make much sense to just build something from scratch. Plus, I already had these. So the idea is to move these smaller shelves that I had in the garage to here. Now the garage is very tall. The house is sort of up a little high. There's steps going up. So the garage doesn't have any steps. It's at ground level. So it's about 11 and a half feet high. So I could build shelves that are much higher than those over there. And of course I could bolt them to the wall and everything. And have much more space. So that's the idea. The idea is to build bigger and larger and taller shelves in the garage. So I'll have more space there to store things properly. Whereas here, I'm limited by how high I could go unless I dig up into the floor above me, which I don't think we'll be doing anytime soon. Garages can be for 2 things. So the thing is, where the garage is, so we have a fireplace, and that fireplace in the living room actually cuts into the garage. So you have your garage, let's say it's let's say this is the garage, okay? So, not the exact shape, but... So the fireplace cuts out like this. So you have this cutaway here. And there's plenty of space for the car, but you have this cutaway of the fireplace. So from here to here, in the back of the garage, from the fireplace onward, there's this cavity of about, 2 feet or so. So I could build shelves that are at least 2 feet deep and, however high, without getting into the space where a car would move. So there you go. And once all the stuff is on the shelves, the car could go in the garage. How about that? Actually putting a car in the garage. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. No, please. My garage has always been filled with old computers. I've rented or owned 2 properties that have had garages, and not once was a car ever in the garage. Ever. And I mean, like, when I moved in and there was nothing in the garage. Ever. We never got the car in the garage because there was always boxes of moving stuff and junk like that. So, yeah. Hello, CS Waffle. Welcome to the chat here. So, alright, so we're just rambling about garages, and Bruce gave away his clones. I'm not drinking this. There. Oops. That would have ended the stream badly. My goodness, my goodness. So, yeah. Yeah, trust me, it's bad. It's bad here too. There's a reason why I have not updated my list of how many Macs I own, because then it makes me realize how many Macs I own. So, all right. So let's. Hey, Matt, welcome to the stream. So let's get started here. What the heck should I work on? I got what machine is this? I got a machine in from. No, I did that one already. That was the Macintosh Classic board. There was another Mac. Here it is. There was another Mac that someone sent me in. Now, I do have a few others that are problematic. And I have been working on those, but just not on the stream because, quite frankly, they're not as exciting to show because nothing happens when I use them. One has an issue and the other one has an issue. So, where the heck did I... Oh, that's I already took it out of the box. That's why I'm like, why isn't it there? So this board comes from. There's a note attached to this one. So this is from Mike, and he has a Color Classic. So I have not looked at this board yet. This is a Macintosh Color Classic. If I could actually move my chair in, that'd be great. So I'm not necessarily going to start this board, but let's take a look at it first. Looks like we got a... oh, that's right. This had an accelerator card attached. You didn't have to send that, but now we can all look at it too and go, ooh. Now, I don't have one of these cards. This is a 68040 processor upgrade card made by Sonnet Technologies in 1996. Would you look at that beauty there? My goodness, am I jealous. Beautiful. So that is the card that he included, because that was how his original Macintosh Color Classic was all set up. So, yeah. So this obviously has some capacitors that need to be reworked, but honestly, they look like they're in very good condition. I'm only seeing one that is leaking and one that has leaked. Of course, it's right by this crucial chip right here. Now, let me read the note that I know most of the Sonnet ones are purple. Some of them I have aren't. So it's not working currently. So at least there is definitely a problem with some of the capacitors here. But honestly, they do not look to be in bad shape. We do have a PRM battery in there. Now, here, let's switch to the microscope view so I could actually give you guys a look of what I'm seeing here. So let's switch to that. Oops, wrong one. Move that over. And let's see if we can get a good look at this. There we go. Now here is where the problem probably is. Look at that. So this is, I believe, if it's similar to the Classic 2, this is one of those crucial ships you don't ever want to mess around with. And I have no idea what you're saying, buddy. So yeah, this is one of those that you need to have functioning to have the computer to work. So yeah, this could obviously help with a good cleaning. You deal, use a good cleaning rather. And yes, the CUDA chip. Thank you. I was going to get to the word eventually, but yeah. So yeah, there's some gunk around here that might be bridging a few of those. I'm actually curious if I wash this away. I'm curious if the board will start right up, because if I'm looking at the capacitors, yeah, this one may have leaked a little bit. But if I look at the few over here, yeah, all right, there's some leakage here, but it really doesn't look to be in bad shape, unless you're under a microscope. But what do I know? It's called a scalpel. All right, so so yeah, let's just try and get some of. Ooh, look at that pin there. That is this is a Color Classic board. It's Macintosh Color Classic. So we have some of this lovely crud on there. Just being gentle here. Trying to scrape some of that away. Now, the problem is with the Color Classic, of course, you need the machine to get it to, just like the regular Classic or the SE or the Plus, you need the body of the machine to get it to work. Now, I have two Color Classics. Both of my own can be a little fidgety. Sometimes they just want to not work, and sometimes they're fine. I believe it's the analog board. So that is something that that is. If you're gonna start spamming, I'm gonna put you in a timeout. This is your last warning. So yeah, with these sort of Macs, you need the analog board and everything to do the test. Make sure the machine is working. Now, like I said, mine is working, but it's finicky. And Bruce is a witness, because the last time we worked on those two Color Classics, they booted up fine. And then they just decided, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to boot up anymore. So, yeah. Just being very gentle. We don't want to break off any of those pins there or anything like that. So who there has olive green? Who out there has a Macintosh Color Classic? These are lovely little machines. These are getting harder to find. It's a little bit of both. Some of it is just dust, but some of that is purely disgusting stuff that has probably been eating away at that. I'm watching you through a camera. That's a bit creepy. Yes, I do use an ultrasonic cleaner for boards. It is essential, especially with some of the machines that I have and clean up. Like this one, the amount of scrubbing I do cannot get under chips sometimes. So I'm just doing some light cleanup here, because I am very curious if once we clean, and I normally don't do this, but I am just genuinely curious here, is if I clean this up a little bit, if we will get any luck here of that looking good. Yeah, it is looking good. So there you go. All right, let me go get my Color Classic, because I'm gonna need it nearby. I'm not gonna need to plug it in now, but let me go grab that. So I'll be right back in like 2 minutes. So let me just put the Be Right Back music on, and I'll be right back. Let me just see if it's within arm's reach. Okay, I am back, and I realize while I do have both of my classics, the color classics, I do have two of them. The boards are not in them, so that's gonna be fun. All right, let me catch up on the chat here. Sorry, I had to run away there. You got a Color Classic 2 board? What? Well, that's fancy. If you need a recap, I know a guy. Oh boy. So, yeah, I mean they are slow unless you do. That's why the Mystic upgrades are such nice little things to do for those Color Classics, because man, they could just run so much better with a different logic board in there. But all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the capacitors off of this machine and we're going to recap it. I'm just going to make sure that I actually have the capacitors. I'm running low. I just ordered some new capacitors, but I just want to make sure I have these in stock to do this machine. Otherwise, there's real no point in taking the caps off right now, other than you seeing them go pop in my face and you laugh at it. Alright, so a little cheat sheet here from Bruce's website, recapamac.com. Let's transition over to here and give Bruce a necessary plug. Oh, where's my thing? Hold on. There it is. I really need one of those switchboard thingies. Hey, Adam! I'm very happy your classic is working again. G5 quad. Oh boy. Very, very cool, Trina. Very cool. Alright, so yeah, check out Bruce's website, recapamac.com. He also has a YouTube channel at Brankus Creations. Excellent stuff. I learned a lot of stuff from him. So do not be shy. Go to that website and click around. Alright, so I may be missing some of the components here, so let me double check. I have the 4716, because what guy doesn't have those? Alright, then I have the 6.3 volt 100. Not the size I prefer, but I have them. And so I need one 16 volt 10 microfarad. Oh boy. That's probably the one I don't have. Because I'm running low. I've recapped so many machines, I'm running low on capacitors, which is fine. You know, my last order was probably over the summer or so. But, yeah. I do not seem... Let me check, I have another little bin down here. I do not seem to have any additionals. Oh, great! Glad to hear that, Adam. That is awesome. 6 volt. What? Oh, that was probably for something weird I did, huh? There's one in here? Oh, okay, I took that off. So 6 volt 100. That's not what I need, right? Wait. Of course, I closed the page. No. Yeah, so I'm missing... I need one 10 microfarad 16 volt capacitor, which I do not have. Oh, that's frustrating. So that goes... Which one is that? That is there. Yeah, one of the small ones there. And of course, that one looks like it's leaking like it shouldn't be. Yeah. Oh boy. Well, let's continue looking here, because there might be just one hanging out on my desk here. Good evening, Sean. Welcome to the stream. Give us some good luck as we look for a capacitor that is probably not on my desk, but you never know. Hey, here's one. I have no idea what this one is. Oh, this might actually... No. That would just be too coincidental. That would be hilarious, though. But I don't think that is the case. It's probably one of these. Yeah, it is. So this one goes in here. You know, I have never done any of the I've never done any of the hardware modifications for the Color Classic Mystic upgrades, any of that stuff. Mine was just software, system enabler. I didn't do the 640 by 480 mod or anything like that. Well, I'm not going to do that, Adam. Ouch. So yeah, I never did any of the hardware modifications or anything like that. So that is something I may attempt in the future. I do have 2 Color Classics, but of course, that is something I have to be careful with. So I may not be able to recap this one. We may have to just tinker around with some existing machines, but oh no. And yeah. So yeah, let me take a look. I'm just looking over here. Yeah, I just really need to order some more capacitors. Let me make sure. Let me open my... Bruce, you're getting a lot of attention here, so there you go. Let me open up... Where's my keyboard? Let me open up my... I made a spreadsheet of what I ordered. Let me make sure. I actually... Oops. I don't have to order anymore, because... The problem with a lot of those sites is you do have to pay like $10 shipping. And, yeah... No, if you're ordering 1 cap or 2 caps, it doesn't matter. All right, that's the wrong inventory sheet. I know this is not too exciting, so just hold on, please. No worries, Bruce. You're just getting some free promotion here. All right, here's my capacitor sheet here, and yeah, I had 0 of them left, so yeah. I don't have that. So, all right. So yeah. So let's we'll hide your banner away, and we'll give Mike some promotion for a while. Oh, thank you very much, Bruce. Eep. Thank you very much for the super chat, Bruce. Greatly appreciated. That'll go towards the capacitor order I just placed. But wow, yeah. So Mike's Mac Shack, he does more streams than I do these days. Sometimes. Be sure you subscribe to his channel if you have not done so already. Mike is usually in the chat. He's probably floating around somewhere where he fell asleep. I mean, I don't blame him. So check out Mike's Mac Shack. Just do a YouTube search for Mike's Mac Shack. And I realize my hair looks like a mess, but who the heck cares? So, oh, thank you very much, David. Thank you very much for the help. And yeah, that'll go towards the saw I have to buy tomorrow at the hardware store. So thank you very much for the super chat. Eep! I greatly appreciate it. So that was for a 3D printer. Priorities, Bruce. Priorities. First, everything has to be organized. And I will tell you, I am keeping in mind a spot for such a device if it has to be put in that room. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, a lot of those machines, those little hardware upgrades are interesting. I did get a request recently. I was fixing an LC3. Maybe we'll look at that because that needs some attention. I was fixing up an LC3. And unfortunately, yes, I'll be doing another cleaning stream sometime soon. I just don't have a date in mind. I was fixing up an LC3, and unfortunately, it worked before the recapping. Recapped it, and doesn't want to work. So we'll take a look at that. Maybe we could fix that up. But oh, thank you very much, JJ. That's greatly appreciated. Eep, everyone gets a eep. That wasn't a good eep. Hold on, let me try it again. Everyone gets a wild eep for the super chat. So eep. Yeah, that's a little better. So there you go. Thank you very much for the help. New monitor to my right. This one right here? No. These monitors have been the same one I move them around slightly because when I did the giveaway, I had to move this monitor from here all the way over there, so so I could actually see what I was doing. But yeah. So. Oh boy, that's. When you don't remember that you have them, I guess that's a good hint that you could sell them and not miss them. So, okay, so let's get out that LC3 board because maybe Bruce's magic eyes can see something I can't, and we can have some fun with that. So let me stand up and get the logic board sitting over here. That's the wrong one. They all look the same when they're in these plastic bags. Okay. You know, with all the bins and things I had to move from that side of the basement over here, and this iBook is going to fall, along with my cookies, I've been losing a lot of space. So, forgive me if I'm constantly moving around trying to find spots. So, steamy G5 action. Alright, so let's take a look at this LC3. I forget if I did this on a stream or not. I don't think I did. This was one of the ones where I had to sit through something, and I just recapped this over the weekend. So yeah, the liquid cooled G5s, oh, bundle of fun. All right, let's move the microscope closer, and we can take a look. So this board worked fine before the recap, to my amazement, but now whenever I turn it on, the power supply goes click, 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 click. Now that power supply works fine. It was recapped by my friend Jay from the House of Moth here, also in the chat. Go subscribe to Jay's channel. He does release some good content whenever he gets around to it, but it's good content nonetheless. So this board has been ultrasonically cleaned. It has been recapped, but we're still getting a click, click, click with the power supply, even though it worked fine before the recapping. So either something has been pointed in the wrong direction, or there's a solder ball somewhere, or something weird like that, or something else going on. But let's try and see what the heck is going on here. It clicks but it doesn't turn over. Oldest Mac I ever worked on, well, worked on is a loose term, but a 128K Mac. So the very first Macintosh I have worked on it. I have not repaired anything with it because nothing is wrong with it yet, but that's something I will be looking at. So here is, there are 3 capacitors here. Now there was no real trace damage here, but what I did do is just put some solder mask over some areas where the copper was exposed, because there was leakage here. So that was something that I did do. However, I don't think that necessarily would have caused an issue, but you never know. You never know. So, you know, it could be something related to this area. There are 3 capacitors here. They all seemingly make a good connection. You can see sort of this, these 3 caps here. Now, I do have my own, this is a Macintosh LC3, by the way. I do have my own LC3 board that has not been recapped yet, but it does still work. I do have my own board for reference, so we can use that to try and piece this puzzle together. Now, the one problem capacitor here, and you can see why it's a problem capacitor. This was a very, very leaky capacitor. This destroyed this pad here, and so what I had to do was I had to put a piece of wire there, and I had to bridge that there, and hopefully that did not cause the issue. I mean, who knows at this point, but yeah, that was a bit of a problem. You can see these little pieces are just falling off. It does look pretty rough. The ultrasonic cleaner made this look a little bit worse for wear, but you can see all these little spots. This is sort of like bubbling, solder mask rather. So we do have to paint over this at one point if we want to. I don't really have a favorite. I just Googled it. I did a search in Amazon, and the only one that came up was the only one available, and it's escaping me right now where the heck I put it. It's somewhere on the desk. It's like $6 or $7. It's this little green stuff. You can get it from many other places, I'm sure. But, yeah. You have to smash the like button in order to view Bruce's notifications. I don't know if that's how that works. So, yeah, we're going to play the look and see what's wrong with this board. It's a game you can play at home. Also going to make sure there's no solder balls anywhere, so I'm just going to pan around this board. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Just see if I see anything weird. Because it was working fine before the recap. The only abnormal thing that had happened, just paying close attention to these pins on the processor here. The only abnormal thing that had happened, which is not too abnormal, is this little row of resistors here. They all sort of half flew off, and I was able to get them back on. I don't think that would have caused an issue though, because have all been placed back where they were supposed to. Especially this one. This was just a bit tilted, but it wasn't necessarily broken. Even for an ultrasonic clean, around this chip there's some stuff that make it be cleaned up, but nothing that I think would be causing it not to turn on. So yeah, so this is going to be a fun one. I thought, oh, this will be great, a nice quick recapping to get the machine working again and get it right back into the customer's hands, and no, did not want to do it. Now this capacitor, it's a different shape, but that shouldn't have anything to do with it. That's one of the ones I use. That should be fine. Around U5. Let's take a look at U5. Yeah, so this does look pretty gross. This has been through the cleaner once, because I hope that would alleviate the problem. But yeah, there's just some... It's right in the middle of all this capacitor fun, so... we can get out the multimeter and make sure everything is still making a good connection there. Oh no, my floppy drive fell, and so did my cookies. I have to eat the cookie now. I'm sure I can, Adam. I just never had to yet. So, I assume maybe it's something with the gear or something like that needs to be replaced. Or the mechanism there. Flux and cookies. Yeah, just because I haven't done it yet, but I'm not saying I couldn't. I just have not had to do that yet. So just making sure those pads are actually touching those pins. I mean, that seems okay. Yeah, I thankfully, my 512K, the internal one is sort of jammed. But I use an external drive with it. I haven't repaired the internal one yet, but I have to get around to doing that. I very seldom use that machine. Ah, okay. So, yeah, I have never experienced that. I only... Now to think of it, actually, I don't know if I have a 400K drive, because the 128K I have was upgraded with the Mac Plus upgrade. And I assume they upgrade... Yeah, I think they upgraded the floppy drive in that too. So I may not have a 400K drive. So... C35 and C34 control the reset boot pin. Really? Here. Where's C35, C34? On this machine, or are you talking about something else? Okay. Because that's fancy. That's right there. Capacitor's on the other side. Now, I didn't even really look on the other side here. But I'm very careful when I put these on the desk here, so I don't know if anything would have... They're huge. Okay, Bruce. Yeah, I trust you guys on that. Okay, so let's just take a look at what Kate is saying there, because that's really cool. So C34 and C35. Why are my schematics all wet? That's why. I found 36. Ah, there's 35 right there. And 34, how about that? Electronics work is done in the shower. Oh my goodness. There's so many things that could be said. You'd certainly get a great audience doing that. Not me. But I don't know if it would be the right audience. If you want that kind of attention, anybody who wants to do that. That's a bit silly. I'm just cleaning off some of the residue left by the alcohol or whatever was used to clean this up before. Sometimes you get little streaks. But yeah, nothing is touching there. Oh. See, I read the numbers correctly, but I didn't read the little letters. Thank you. It's been a long day, a lot of shoveling. My brain no work good no more. Alright, where is... So these are in the hundreds here. Let's see, there's the 90s, there's the 60s, there's the 40s. Alright, C38 is up here. Shoveling snow. Unfortunately. Yeah, probably not going to find them. I think it really would make a difference to what we're doing here, but let's see at the front. C8. Yeah, I mean, I do not see those capacitors on the board, Kate. So that's, I mean, they're probably just like, the problem is they're just numbered the way they're numbered. There's no problem. There's probably a rhyme or reason. I just don't understand it. So it could very well be that they're just staring me right in the face and I'm not seeing them. But just looking at the board generally on the back, I don't see anything that is missing or anything that is bridged or anything. I see a little dirt, but those schematics are known to be a little bit flaky. I mean, yeah, I cannot vouch for their authenticity. I know some of the things on there are very useful and such, but I cannot say without a doubt that they are 100% correct. I've known from the person I got mine from in the dark corner of the internet, they said take them with a grain of salt, don't trust them verbatim. So. So Jay's idea is to have a big lasagna dinner and just study the schematics, as he'll have a good few hours to do that while he's on the toilet. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, everything looks fine on the other side here. Not seeing anything that looks problematic, so let's flip it back over to the this side here. Yeah, see, there was some solder mask I put there just because there was some scrapes here, but let's see how those. So let's find where else this could be going. Okay. Where could you be going? I tested the shielding. It's not going to the shielding. We can test the processor, because that usually goes to a lot of places. No. Hello, Thomas. Welcome to the chat. Let's flip the board over. You're not really going to be able to see this, so my apologies. But I'm just, I just want to make sure that the capacitor end over here is actually going somewhere. Probably to one of these little resistors on the bottom of the board somewhere. Yeah, it does lead to somewhere on the board. So that's good. Yeah, I'm just double checking my work, making sure I didn't screw anything up, making sure there's nothing hanging around here, no solder balls or anything like that. Okay. Just want to make sure everything is connected. Okay, seems all happy there. Whoever downloaded doesn't take showers ever. They're smelly and stinky. There, I said it. So here is, And I guess I could test this area. So let's test the negative pins first. Right, those are all connecting properly. Okay, and those are all connecting to the power rails correctly for the power supply socket. So that appears to be in okay shape. Now, we do have... Alright, so here's the floppy connector. Most of those pins are going this way and then going wherever they want to go. I do want to just make sure none of this is messed up here. That's fine. No, this is not as exciting as, well, maybe it is. Who knows? I'm not going to tell you what not to be excited about. Alright, so that's a power rail, and that kind of, it's a thick one there. Now, where does that go? Yeah, so that seems to be okay. Well, I hope so too, but unfortunately some machines have been with me for a long time that I just have not been able to get working. And, you know, it's and Bruce says this all the time, but I'll just echo it here. Most of the time you get a machine, it's not a recapping. You do a recap and then you play guess where the fault is. Now, in this case, it's perplexing because before doing the recap, the machine did turn on. Now, I didn't do a full test of the machine, but it booted up. And that was good enough for me. However, the power supply clicking is concerning. Obviously, that should not be happening. Exactly, Quadra 840AV. Oh, that poor machine. So I'm struggling to find a reason as to why this machine suddenly does not want to work anymore. Show off, Adam. So yeah, I mean there could be just a little piece of solder somewhere that's shorting something out. It could be a number of things. So I'm taking yes, the power supply does work with another board. The power supply was recapped. So it does work with my LC3. Let me take my LC3 board out here. And now this has to be recapped. So this does look a bit nasty. But this is my own board. That's what happens when I get customer boards in. I don't have the time to work on mine. So yeah, this is my LC3 logic board, which does need a recap because, oh, look at that corrosion over there. This little liquidy smelling stuff here. Oh, look at that one. Ooh, look at that trace. That trace is gone. Bye. Yeah, we're going to have to fix that. Well, that's just the solder mask that fell off. But still, ugh. Yeah, I haven't looked this under a microscope yet. This is a treat. This is a lovely little board here. Ugh. Good fish oil. Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, so my only guess, and this is just a guess, but we're going to find out in a second. My only guess is when I put the wire on the negative side of this capacitor, maybe I'm bridging something I shouldn't. No. Because what I did was I put that wire here, and then I just, put it there. Now, unless that wire ate away on... No. Well, hold on. Well, technically, that goes to there. Well, I guess the area around this is not the same. So it could be maybe bridging something there. Maybe that could be the problem. Although I think I took that... Now here's a question for the group, namely Bruce. Now I'm curious, if I were to remove this suspect capacitor here, which has had some work done, if I remove that entirely, I'm curious, now I can't remember if I did this before, I'm curious if we'll have the same problem. Probably will. Now, of course, what makes this really annoying is this is so close to the SCSI port here that I do not want to melt. And this is J14, capacitor number 20. Oh. Your brother's name is Bruce. Wow. Does he also recap Macs? Yes, you need your delicious omega-3 filled capacitors in the morning. Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, because, I mean, this board looks very clean. I'm not seeing any solder balls hiding around in here. Which makes me very curious as to why it has decided not to work. This is a Macintosh LC3. One of the finest LC Macintoshes you could buy. The client has also requested I modify this board to overclock it. Now I can do that, but I need to have the machine working first. So that is something I will do. Well, it has been recapped. That's the problem. So I can go ahead and take that cap off and try again. But I'm not necessarily sure if that's going to resolve the problem, because I did recap this machine. And overall, it looks to be in pretty great shape. I mean, yeah, a lot of the LC3s are very, very brittle, and they're just the age of those capacitors and everything, and things can just start falling off the board. But I mean, everything looks to be in solid shape here. Now what I will do is, I guess what I can do is I could test those same points on my logic board where that capacitor is before I take anything off, because it's probably not going to solve anything. Let's just see. And you're not going to really see anything detailed here, because, well, I guess you could see that disgusting one. Look at that for a while. But yeah, so helps if the multimeter's on. I really need to get a new battery for that. Nothing is a little old, in my opinion, with these machines. They're all young and springy peachy. Let's see. Alright, so this is negative because I'm touching the shielding of the port, and that's negative. The same thing goes for here. Now, let's see, that's positive. Well, it would be if there was something I could actually. Oh. Let's see, I'm just trying to think here. Oh boy. I mean, these are, there's never straightforward. There's always a bit of a surprise here. So let me think here. What can I try? So that's the third pin there. That should be that, and then if I do. Alright, so both the positive and the negative of that capacitor go to where it's supposed to go. I can pinpoint it with the multimeter. Now, what I can't confirm is if on the board I recapped if this is touching something else, but see, I don't know what this may be going to nothing. This dark green here, that's not a ground or anything, so that's not populated. So I don't think that would be the issue. But oh, good night, Solar Strike. No worries. This is going to be an investigation that requires some time. So I appreciate all you stopping by, but we're in it for a bit here. I'm using all the right capacitor values, I believe. I'm going to double check that right now with Bruce's website, just to make sure I haven't made a silly mistake here. Because the best thing you could do is check your work. And that's right, there is... let's go to Bruce's website here, and if we look for LC3, there is no such LC3 on his website. Because Bruce secretly hates the LC3. I think it's a jealousy problem mostly. But he despises it. So there's no guide on the site. But I do have my original board here. I could double check. So those are all 1016s. Right? Those should be 1016s. Yeah, 1016s. That one should be a 100 microfarad 6.3 volts, so I will double check that. Hey Brian, welcome to the stream. I have work to do and I just have to do it, so I've been really trying. Oh boy. Oh boy. So yeah, there's quite a few clients waiting for their machines to be repaired, and this I thought I could get off as an easy one, just recap and go, but there's always a surprise. So I'm just confirming that actual capacitor is the right value. Let me just go fishing, because I have more of those. Let me just go to my capacitor bag here. Yeah, these are... Those aren't them. Because it could be something as simple as, you know, not the right voltage getting somewhere or something like that. I did check the polarity on all of them. They all seem to be okay. So that's not the problem. And yes, I do realize I do need a better system of organizing these. Yeah, right now, actually, anybody who's been sending me requests, I have been saying, yes, I'll accept the job, but, you know, if you ship me something, I won't get to it anytime soon. This is the rare occasion where I thought I could get ahead of it, and foolish me, now I'm in the situation where the machine just doesn't want to work. So, 16 volt 47, no. I had some on my desk here. Where did they go? Yes, these are 6.3 volts, 100 microfarad. That's exactly what these are. So the one I replaced it with, I'm just reading the numbers off of this real quick. Yeah, you know, I'm going to replace this capacitor. Now I do... Oh, well, thank you very much, Bruce. I greatly appreciate that. I'm 99.9% sure that this capacitor here is the same exact value and everything, but it was just like the flatter design that I ended up using, because I had an abundance of those. Now, I can't seem to find that little bag somewhere. It's probably hiding on my desk right in front of me. But I'm not against just taking a look and putting a replacement capacitor there just to see if that resolved the problem, because after all, before I started recapping, the machine was working. That doesn't mean that is the issue, but it's something to think of as I try and push this box away from falling down. Because, as I've said before, we're in a bit of a messy situation here. How many reefer capacitors have blown up on you? Only one from my Apple IIgs. Only one. And unfortunately, that has put my Apple IIgs out of commission right now. Much love from Alaska. Well, thank you much, Daniel. It feels like Alaska here, although I know I'm blowing that out of proportion just because we got some measly snow. But I know you have much more snow than I do, so I will refrain from complaining. Yeah, me too, Brian. Me too. That's a project I think we all have to work on. It looks like, well, let me just look over here in detail here. Problem is I start piling things on my desk here and things get lost in the pile. But that's just because. How did the soldering iron tip over like that? That's not good. Huh. Yeah. Desk will forever be messy. Yeah, Brian, that's what happened to me. It just went pop. Matt. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have plenty of Macs and Apple IIs that have reefer capacitors in them, and I never had a problem, except I was actually playing around with don't worry, Christopher, see you later. I was playing around with my Apple IIgs, and I was trying to make some floppy disks for Mike of Mike's Mac Shack, and unfortunately it just went up, went kapow, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's problematic. And I hear you could run the machine without it and all that stuff, and it's not going to really cause you a problem, but it's just one of those things I'd feel much better about just replacing and not worrying about. That's going to drive me crazy. I just can't find the bag that capacitor came out of. I'm going to search for the number here. Maybe that'll help me confirm that I wasn't crazy and that this is exactly the type of capacitor that I should have installed. And if Bruce wants to play along at home and prove me correct or wrong, that'd be fun. 107J 80600, whatever the heck that means. Whatever that means. I don't know. I will be the first to admit when I do not know something. Actually, I could look at my my order list, and that will tell me exactly which capacitors I've ordered in the past and which match that. I have to log in. Let's see if I remember my login. Cross your fingers. Success. Oh, interesting. I did not know that about the external power supplies, Brian. The duos. Jeez. That's a bit scary. Hey, Dylan. How you doing? I'm doing okay. How are you? Not much is up. We are looking at a Macintosh LC3. We are trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Yeah, the SE30s can be so problematic, and you know there's always a problem with those. Never straightforward. Never straightforward. Let's see. This I might have found what I was looking for here. Possibly. Maybe. Oh, that's nice. It's always nice to find an accelerator in there, but open up, can't get the open up to get the battery out and find the accelerator card. Well, the accelerator card might be worth more than the machine at this point. Not that I suggest you trash it or anything like that, but I'm having a heck of a time trying to find exactly. So all the ones that I think it is. Well, this it says it's a 6-volt. But here, let me check Bruce's old guide instead of referring to my own stuff here, because Bruce is an angel in disguise. So it's a 100 microfarad 6.3 volt capacitor, which we need to put in that spot. Yes, they are good. They are good to have. So I have replaced that with 100 microfarad 6.3 volt. So that should have done the trick there. Now I did see that there's a very similar one that's a 6 volt at 100 microfarad. So there is a potential thing, maybe, unless Bruce knows his magic with these numbers here, that this could be a 6 volt and not a 6.3 volt. Now, I don't know if that would be enough to cause the power supply to go clickety click 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 like that. I would assume not, but that would be making an assumption there. Just checking to see if any. I did. It's gonna drive me crazy because I had a bag of capacitors here that was not in my capacitor bag, which is very foolish of me to not keep them in that bag. But I'm gonna just take them all out just to make sure I'm not going crazy here and missing it because it's like hidden between one or something like that. But feel free to ask your questions or anything you may have about computers you may want to know about or anything like that. Old Macs or anything. Be happy to answer them while we go through a bit of a treasure hunt here. Some of these capacitors are just so tiny. You think the bag is empty, but this one has 2 whole capacitors in it. No, yeah, there should be plenty more. Oh, you know what? My inventory sheet will tell me. That's what it will tell me. Haha. Maybe. No, maybe. Oh, oh, I'm going crazy. Let's take a look. See, because what I do is I sometimes write down the number on the capacitor, so I understand which ones I have. Yeah. See, this is normal flat. I ordered 18 of those, 6.3 volts. Yeah, so that should be fine. That should not have a problem. No, Brian, I have not, but the power supply was recapped by my friend, Jay, and it works fine on my other LC3 board. So that, to me, isolates the problem to being on the board. OS 10, the sound does work somewhat. The first thing I would check there, and I can't pronounce your username, Exodium, maybe something like that. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, Brian, I'll check that in a sec. The only thing I could suggest with the G4 iMac is maybe there's maybe it thinks that the speakers are plugged in or something like that. You might want to use some deoxit and a cotton swab or just a headphone plug and just try and clean both that and the speaker port. Not the headphone one, but the speaker port, for the Pro speakers rather, just to see if there is anything in there that may be confusing the computer into thinking that headphones are plugged in. Yeah, you might. I mean, just try. I always try thinking of like the simplest solution first. You never know if that could work, and if not, maybe it's something more convoluted. But yep, the connector could also be disconnected from the port or half connected. Depending on how hard of a life that computer had. You never know. Okay, so yeah, I'm sure that is the right capacitor that is in there. don't think taking that off is going to help us, but let's go to Brian's guess here. So Brian said, have you measured the resistance... Oh, I scrolled down too far. Where'd it go? Yeah, this chat is a little... Have you measured the resistance across the ground and 5 or 12 volt ports on the power supply connector? So on the logic board. Now, I will be the first to admit I do not fully understand how to use my multimeter. I basically use it for continuity and for measuring batteries and such. So, if you want to tell me the magical position to put my multimeter in to test that properly, by all means, please educate me. But I'm not going to pretend I know what I'm doing. Oh boy. But we could try that out, Brian, if you want to help me out there. I will give it the old try here. Now my multimeter is not the fanciest, but hopefully it will do the trick. Oh, thank you very much. I very greatly appreciate the super chat. Eep! I hope that trick works out for you. I really do. You can start in the diode mode if you hold it in front of the camera. I can try to figure... Okay, yeah, so I think the diode mode is here. Well, I have to go to the big screen here. Now, let me just double check something real quick before I make a fool out of myself. Yeah, so I believe the diode mode is here. Oh, jeez. The lighting is not ideal here, but let's try and make this work out. So, alright. There. Oh, come on. Focus, you lousy camera. Look, my finger's there. Focus. Don't focus on my face. Focus on my fingers. There. I believe that's the diode mode there. Now, there is this button. I'm going to leave that off. I believe it's set to the diode mode there. Okay. It does work. Okay. So, yeah. So, that is set, Brian. I'm awaiting your instructions for the next step. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, a USB audio adapter would work fine, hopefully. Put one on the ground leads, another on the 5 volt or 12 volt. Okay, so I believe so here's the 5 volt. And I get a number of 289. 288 for the 5 volt. And if I do the 12, well, that ain't right, is it? The 12 volt is having continuity with the ground. That probably should not be happening. And just to double check, here, that does not happen on my logic board. So, we have a lovely, lovely thing of the 12 volt touching the ground somewhere. Thank you, Brian, for helping me to solve partially the problem, but now we need to figure out exactly what the heck is going on here. What is causing this insanity? So, the ground here is connected to our good friend 12 volts. So, I crossed the stream somewhere, or somehow the streams have been crossed. So, we have to figure out where that is shorting out. Now, I guess what we could do, it's just a guess here, we can start off at the bottom here. So 12 volts is there. I'm going to put a little magic marker there so I know where it is. Teamwork! Thank you, Brian! So, hopefully we can figure this out. Alright, so this is the 12 volt here. When I touch ground, it goes beepity boopity. So let's follow that rail. Just to see if it goes anywhere interesting on the bottom here. Okay, and that comes up here, goes here, goes all the way up here, comes along here, and goes here. Okay, so what's behind this? That is right near. Okay, so that is right here by that Nubus PDS slot, rather. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it could very well be that the capacitor that was in question is in fact bridged. So thankfully, I do have my board here. So what we're going to be doing is just a good old comparison here of what exactly could be going on. So I do apologize. This is probably not going to be so exciting from a microscope view because, yeah. But yeah, let's move the camera a little bit. And the camera fell off the tripod. Oops. That's what happens when you don't screw it back in. And I need a new tripod desperately, but we're gonna work the best with what we got here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is let's duplicate that. Why the heck not? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Sorry, I'm changing OBS stuff on the fly here, and yeah, hold please. Yeah, I need a better tripod. Well, this nothing physically wrong with this. It just is being silly. So, oh, sorry for the squeak. All right, so we get the microscope out of the way just for a second, and we're just going to do some tests here. So this is the logic board that was recapped, and this is the board that has not been recapped. So let's play along here. So first off, I'm curious if the positive here goes to that 12. Yeah, nope, it actually goes to the 5. All right, so let's test the same thing here. So that problem capacitor here, let's see if that was the culprit. Nope, because that goes to the 5-volt rail. Now let's just see if that... No, nothing near there. Okay. So... it's probably broken. What are you talking about, Doc? All the best stuff's made in Japan. Alright, so let's see here if we follow our probes here. I'm going to put a piece of marker on here too. So yeah, we definitely have something shorting out something somewhere. Wasn't that fun? Alright, so I'm going to just try something here. This may be completely the wrong way of doing this, but my thought process is, let's find a capacitor on my non-fixed board here that the positive end goes to one of the 12 volts here. Because maybe that'll give us a clue. Of course, everything's crusty, so I'm probably not getting a good signal. Well, that's the power jack there. Actually, that's a good test. So, power jack. Yeah, so that obviously ground is bad. Yes, the board worked last when it was on my desk before I touched it. So that is, of course, my bad. So something here has bridged, and that's what we're trying to figure out. What has bridged, and where could it potentially be? So... Alright, so the most logical step to check first is the capacitor that goes to the 12-volt rail. So that would be here. Now there is some funny stuff going around here, but let's take this one step at a time. Let's resize this. So we have our 12-volt rail here. And it's going to both. So this line should go here, and that should be the end of it. And since this is the only thing I seem to have touched that had 12 volts, the 12-volt rail going to it, I'm going to assume this might be the problem. So what I'm going to do is get that capacitor off of this board and take a better look under it, because maybe something funky is going on there. Just a guess, but I think it's a pretty good guess considering when I touched all the other capacitors, none of them led to 12 volts. So is my thinking there solid, or am I insane? Now, I don't remember there being any bad corrosion or anything under here, but, I mean, for all I know... Insane. Insane! Sir, he is insane in the membrane. This calls for another cookie. Well, something is bridging the 12 volts to the ground, Bruce, but I don't know if it's necessarily this, because the positive is right here. I mean, I'm going to remove the cap anyway, but... Very curious. Well, I hate removing these, because they're a pain to get on, and they're a bit of a pain to get off of there. So, no. Yes, cookie crumbs are not conductive, which is good. Yeah, I'm not going to twist off caps like that other guy. Unfortunately, in my first ever YouTube video where I removed caps, I followed that other guy's advice. And I regret that I did, because it made me look like a fool. And that is just not something you want to do. I mean, looking like a fool is fine, but ripping off capacitors like that is no. I'm sad to say that I followed that advice on the Quadra 840 AV. And that's probably why it doesn't work today. I blame him. Easier to blame him. Yes, I am, Bruce. So, you may have missed a little bit what we were talking about before, but essentially, Brian had the great idea to test the resistance between the 5-volt rail and the ground and such, and we discovered that the 12-volt rail is grounded somewhere. And this is the only capacitor that is on the 12-volt rail. So the assumption is there's something either around this or under it or somehow that has screwed something up. No worries, Bruce. So the idea is to remove this capacitor and get a better look and seeing if that was maybe causing some of the problems here or what the heck was going on. Because when I tested the positive, and I'll do it again as I speak, when I tested the positive pin of every other capacitor, I do not get any continuity to the 12-volt rail. So I'm guessing that was the only point that that was the only point that I touched that could have potentially had that problem. I just nudge the cap to the right. So I'm sorry, Bruce, and sorry for asking such a silly question, but where do you exactly see that it's bridging? I mean, now I understand the flux is in the way here, but maybe I'm just not seeing something that's very obvious. Let me just adjust the focus here so it's a bit easier for you guys to see exactly what the heck I'm looking at here. Just above the green blob. Right here, Bruce, or the other green blob? Because that looks like fun. Yeah. Yeah, let's I'm gonna remove this because this has to have some mask put on it anyway, with the way that's coming off, because of all the leakage there. So that could most likely be the problem. So let's try and remove this. Now I am gonna try and use Wick here just to make this a little easier for myself, which probably won't. But look at that. Normally you don't have to put them exactly in the center, but you know, obviously if you have exposed stuff you don't want to touch, you have to be very careful of the placement. And of course it's still on there. Okay, where's my tweezers? Why did I put those tweezers? I just had those tweezers. I just keep saying the word tweezers. Well, I could use my scalpel just to nudge it, but let's try this again. Okay. Hello, of our elements. Okay, so yeah, this is what we had going on underneath. And just for funsies, let's do our little continuity test again. And the problem has been gone. The problem is gone. So yeah, there was definitely something going on there. Alright, so I recycle Apple Mac. Hello, welcome to the stream. So now that short has vanished. This is a Macintosh LC3, which had some voodoo going on because of some lovely stuff over here. So I'm guessing that, oh yep, look at that, look at that. There was just a wee bit of solder there, and I'm guessing that that was just touching that just enough to be annoying. So we're going to put some more mask on there. We're going to clean this up, put some more solder mask on there to remove the risk of that happening again. Here's my solder mask. I found it. Does wearing shorts help create more shorts? You know, I probably was wearing shorts when I did this, and I cannot recommend that now. Because now that is probably the problem. Alright, so we're just going to get some alcohol and just wash this area of the board, because you do not want to play around with solder mask when it's not clean, because it will not stick. Thank you, Bruce, for your eagle eyes there. The cap was going to be removed anyway, but Bruce's eagle eyes, he wasn't even paying attention fully. He's just like, yeah, I see that all the way from Australia. Come on, Steve, try a harder one for me. Be careful what you wish for, Bruce. Yes, I did, Brian, and the problem has gone away. So I think we are dangerously close to having another successful recap here. And this just goes to show you, all these little bubbles in this solder mask that I had to place and everything here, this was all because the capacitors were leaking and have eaten into the solder mask on the board. So again, I cannot stress this enough, because I get emails all the time. People go, yeah, it doesn't turn on, but the caps look good. And you know, it's hard for me to say, Well, it's not going to look good under the microscope. But screen snap. Oh. Yes, Bruce. That is a very good screen snap there. Now, so Bruce's screen capture that he sent me is pointing to this particular area here. So, now, correct me if I'm wrong, Bruce. The assumption is that this capacitor's foot was wide enough just to touch either here or here, either side. There was some solder here, but who knows how that got there. But it was just wide enough to touch one of these edges to short it out, which I believe is what happened. So we're just going to put some UV solder mask to cover all these exposed areas, which I tried to do, but I guess I wasn't good enough here. And we're going to cover all of those areas to resolve that problem. How's the snow? There's too much of it. Does that answer your question? we got about a foot, maybe a little bit more than a foot, more than 12 inches. Because the pins are wider than the original cap. See? That is very, very correct. That is very correct. Now these capacitors are a bit more narrower than the ones I used to use, but they are still wider than the original capacitors. So Bruce has an excellent point there, and that point is to be careful. Alright, so we're just going to paint by numbers here. We're going to clean that up, obviously. We're not leaving it like that. Okay. Let me get the screwdriver that I use. That is okay to get dirty. Now I do need to get myself a little paintbrush. I just have not had the availability to go and do so. I'm going to be extra cautious here. But I don't want to make a mess. Just rain here. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Put too much on there. Actually, the was that a typo there, Adam? Very, very amusing typo, if so. Now, if I overdo it in this area, it does dry. I could just scrape it away. But this paint is not conductive or anything. Oh, good night, Josh. Oh, boy. Yeah, you don't want to put paint in that area. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I certainly wouldn't. So we can, where is that little, hold on, let me just try this. So what sometimes I do is I cut one of these cotton swabs to get sort of a sharper point. And again, I really need a paintbrush, but just trying to get away some of that stuff that was sitting in the middle there. Do not want to have to do this again, so I'm being extra cautious here. Okay, and then there's a hair here. We don't need you there. Please vacate the premises. Oh, where are my tweezers? Yeah, that's what I was kind of doing using the stick part of a Q-tip. I cut a little bit off of the stick, but we're going to go down to the stick itself. So you didn't want to do that much, but that looks much cleaner, so excellent. Alright, so now we're going to use our fancy schmancy UV laser, and I'm going to turn down the light here, so it's easier for me to see the laser beam. And there we go. So we just need to let this cure. And of course, I noticed there's a bit of a hair there still. Yeah, there's a bit of a hair there. It's hard to see when the light is on it. It's still there. There we go. Okay, much better. There is no additional space yet. We are getting there. There is no additional space because of the cleanup yet. That is the goal, but we're going to take a while to get there, I think. Oh, no, I'm not going to make Bruce's mistake and point at the camera. No, siree. So there you go, folks. That was... And we have some more UV solder mask to clean up there by the other capacitor. But I believe this will solve the issue of why this machine was going to clickety-clickety-click. And I have Brian to thank, and I have Bruce to thank, because thanks to our keen teamwork, and I will take credit for it, we have discovered that the positive rail here was touching ground, which is a big no-no. And yes, this is a little UV laser pen. It's battery powered. You get them on eBay for about $5. And it's great when you're doing repairs and it's at night and there's no natural UV light around. So it takes about, about 40 seconds or so to cure this stuff, depending on how thick it is. I sometimes just, leave it on too long just to play it safe, but. So this is right by the power connector, and which makes sense because that was the only capacitor that I determined that was touching the 12-volt rail. And so obviously that was the only spot where I actually made a change. And of course, that's exactly what had happened. The pad for the capacitor is wider than the original capacitor that was there. So obviously there was the risk of it touching, and I thought I had put enough UV solder mask around the sides, but obviously I have not. And that has caused a connection, and that is why the board was not working. And the reason that the, I have some tape over this button to help me hold it down, because sometimes my finger slips. Obviously the older capacitor fluids that were just hanging out on the board there did not help and were making it so that solder mask was just flaking off. I guess you could rewire the battery if you wanted to, but I don't see much of a use of that. You could just I'm sorry, for the UV laser, you mean? Yeah, I'm sure you could do that. Why not? I know Bruce did. Well, the UV solder mask will solve the problem. So I don't have to go overboard here. But I will be informing the client that this area is one that to watch. So, obviously, I note in all of my repairs if there's a significant area or something that had to be messed around with, or had to put a special wire there or a bridge or anything like that. I always let everyone know, just be careful. That's where that repair was made. Be extra delicate if you're ever working in that area. But hopefully this board will just be sitting inside of a case of a computer, will not be touched for a long time, which would be very nice. So who out there has a Macintosh LC3 or a Macintosh LC or anything with an LC in it, for crying out loud? I myself have an LC, an LC2, and an LC3, and an LC3 Plus. They are very nice machines. I have a, what is it, a 5275 LC, which is neat. Yes, Brian. That is a very good point. Well, Sean, you are welcome to borrow one. I can't assure you it'll be in the best condition, but I think I have more LC2s than I have anything else. There was no Macintosh LC4, at least not by name. They probably could have called it something if they wanted to, but... Well, the original LC is nothing to write home about, but the LC2 and the LC3 were, a little bit better each time. The LC3, of course, is faster, and that's why it's more desirable. Unhappy sounds. Oh no, Brian. Oh no. Okay, so this should all be cured now. I'm just going to take my scalpel and just tap very gently. Alright, that is good, all except the very bottom here is still a little bit wet. Well, goopy. So we're just going to hold that there just for a few seconds. A Quadra 605. Excellent. LC power supply needs a recap. Yep, mine did too. Jay did that for me. I'm trying to get the list of capacitors so I could try that myself, because I have many more power supplies that do need that. Just dim the light here just so you can see exactly where I'm pointing, and I realize that some of that is blocked off here by my camera, but yes, I need to recap my 2SI power supply as well. Now, Adam, do you have a list of capacitors for that? Replacement capacitors, rather, not the originals. Because I just made a list and I ordered those capacitors. I'm not sure if they're going to be a perfect fit or if they're going to work, but I'm going to try it. So I will let you know of my progress. But Adam, if you have any information to add, I'd be happy to take a glance at that. Ah. Well, Brian, I hope you could fix that up. Even if you make a wooden case for it. Or something cool. That's the thing. I mean, a lot of the plastics of these machines are very brittle, but people get very creative. Okay, now I am going to put just a little bit more UV solder mask above of that capacitor there. Not because anything's touching it right now, but, I'm being paid to recap this thing and repair it, so we're going to just make sure we're doing the best we can right now, huh? There we go. That should be plenty. Okay. Quadra 610 or a Centra 610 power supply? No, I have not. I do have I think it's a Performa series power supply. I think it's the same thing that I have to recap, but I have not done that yet. Because that, actually, I had to find, that might have been this, no, that's not how I got that one. There is one of those Performa machines that the power supply does not work in, and the story behind that was, my cousin who has switched to PCs ages ago originally had a Mac, and unfortunately the power supply went on it, and so they ended up buying a PC instead because it was way too much to get it fixed or whatever. And I was at their house ages ago, and I got the machine from them. Oh gosh, I was a kid. I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a Mac to play around with, and the power supply doesn't work. I'm just super cautious. Anytime I just see a sliver of copper, I know I'm being extra cautious here, but I do not want to run into the same issue again. Okay. I don't personally have a capacitor list for that. I don't know if Bruce does or not. You could check his website, recapamac.com. That is for the Centrus 610, Quadra 610. I'm not entirely sure. I will likely have to do one at one point, so. I'm not entirely sure if it shares the same exact power supply with the 6100 series, but it might. I mean, it looks awfully the same to me. Adam, if you have any of those details, I don't know if you wrote them down before you ordered them, or if you made a capacitor list for them, it'd be great to share to the community, because that is honestly one of the biggest problems right now. Let's say I have a 2SI power supply. I know I have to recap it. I know the values, but knowing which are the appropriate capacitors to order for that particular machine, you know, the tolerances and all that fun stuff, that would be excellent to share, because of course Bruce and I can put them on our websites, etc., and you know, just share that information. Yeah, a lot of the G4 towers unfortunately need new power supplies too. It's a whole different era, but yeah. Yeah, the LC3 Plus is a very interesting one. Thank you, Adam. That would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, if you want to email me, you know my email address. That might be something helpful to help us all out with. A rack of G4s. Oh, boy. Yeah, I actually have some G4s where there is no power supply because the previous person obviously knew the power supply was busted. And they just tossed it. You know, tossed the power supply. Thankfully, I still have the machine. But, yeah, one of those is a dual processor. So, got rid of the 2SI but kept the power supply. Why would you do that, Nick? 2SI is a lovely machine. I hope that was ages ago and not while I knew you, because otherwise I'm going to shame you. At least if you gave it to somebody, don't toss it in the bin or anything silly like that. Oh, I have an IBM PS1. It's a PS1 Consultant. That's the name of that machine. I think it's a 25 megahertz. You sold it. Okay, well, at least you didn't toss it. Thank you. Yes, the Macintosh TV, there is a cap list for it, I believe. I have a Macintosh TV board that is in horrendous condition, but might be able to be salvaged. Unfortunately, the TV tuner card is way beyond repair. There's just more rust than traces on it, I believe. But I'm sure the information is out there. If not, it might even be on Bruce's site. I'm not 100% sure. I know he has a photo of it that he has sent me at one point, but I'm not sure if he did a recapping guide for it. But you could jump the gun and check it out while I hold this little laser by going to recapamac.com and check it out. Well, that's very interesting. I know Mike from Mike's Mac Shack loves IBM, so that's probably something he would have known about. That's interesting. Ah, that stinks. Yeah, mine I picked up when I bought it. I knew the battery had exploded, so I didn't pay too much for it. Came with the original keyboard, came with the original mouse, came with the original CDs and documentation and all that stuff. So, you know, it was in very good condition, and for what I paid for it, even with it working, the case was in great shape. I thought I could just put another board in it, which I could. I just never got around to it. But that would be short. You know, it was just one of those things where I couldn't pass it up. And I got a bunch of other cool Mac stuff from that guy, too. He was moving. All right, that should all be quite good now, hopefully. All right, that needs a little bit more of a laser there. Just right there. Face down the street. My goodness. Yeah, with the maximum of 8 megabytes of memory, those machines, were not meant for too much of an upgrade path. But that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, that's. I mean, not that I stumbled across it. I drove to find it. But that was like someone had a G3 all-in-one that was just dumped off at an E-Waste site with the keyboard, with the mouse, with the power cable, in pretty decent shape. While I got there, when I got there, it was still there. The only problem is there were some cracks on the top of the plastic, which really doesn't bother me. I was just super thrilled to have that machine. I did a whole video about that. You guys have probably seen it, but if you have not, just search for G3 All-in-One or E-Waste Macintosh Rescue or whatever I called the video, and you can watch that tale. It was a great fun to actually get that computer, and I got some other cool stuff too. So. Oh, excellent! That is awesome. Well, I wish them the best of luck in getting that machine to work. I cannot believe So the full disclosure about that story, and I tell it in the video. I knew that machine was going to be there. Yes, the G3 Molar Mac. I knew that it was there, but I did not know if it was still there, and I did not know if I would be allowed to go get it, etc. So it was quite a risk driving up there and paying tolls and all that fun stuff. But yeah, that was quite an adventure. I was very, very happy to actually get that. I know. Well, my van was practically full of goodies. And, I got 3 big CRT monitors, all which worked. I got that Macintosh clone, which, my goodness, was that an awesome find. I did leave behind an oscilloscope that looked a bit modern, but I honestly didn't know if it worked. It was in the dark. I missed it. But yeah, besides that, excuse me, I had another friend there, another guy who I met who became my friend, and we were looking at everything, and if he found a few Mac things, he found a G4 Tower, and he found an eMac. So, yes, it's the LC3. We found the fault, and we are fixing it up now. So, yeah, so I think I got most of the Apple stuff that was there. Of course, there was probably things I missed that are now being crunched up and destroyed, but let's be positive and not think about that. It kept you busy. Of course it did. I'm still envious of that, and of course, if you ever want to send over any broken 2E boards for me to take a look at, I'd be happy to. Okay, so let's try and put this capacitor on without disturbing... Oopsie. I should be holding my tweezers the other way. Without bridging any connections this time. Yeah, see, my tweezers moved and that made it tilty. Did all that UV solder mask just melt? Did all that solder mask just melt? And some of it did. Okay, good. The stuff that matters that is still there. So I can always recoat that if I had to. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hopefully. Let's just clean this up. Yeah, none of that is coming off on the Q-tip really, so. We should still be okay. I am glad too, and I'm very thankful for Bruce and Brian for helping me out there. Because it's great to do this on a live stream, because then all your friends help you. Now there is some extra UV solder mask I have to put over here. And to put some here, but I don't think those are causing issues. So what we're going to do is try and boot this up. And unfortunately, I have a packed schedule at work tomorrow, and I have to get up quite early. So after we boot this up and play around with it a bit, unfortunately, that is going to be it for the stream. Just full disclosure here. I know, boo work, but I unfortunately have back-to-back meetings the entire morning and the afternoon, so no room for staying up late and being silly and then taking a nap in the afternoon or something like that. Not that I would ever do such a thing. Okay, so we're going to move this microscope out of the way. Sorry for the squeak. Yes, we're going to do another test with the multimeter just to be safe. And the 12 volt is no longer connected to ground, which is excellent. And that ground connects there, and that connects there. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Take a lunch break and sleep in the car. Well, thankfully I get to work from home for the time being, but yeah. And the rabbits are tipping over their food dish, which means they either didn't like what I gave them or they are hungry. So I do not work in an insurance office. No siree. Okay, so where is that Macintosh 2 power supply? Here's the power supply. Okay. And let's see. We don't need a speaker. No, Michael, that is very mean. My rabbits are my friends and my pets, and I do not like that. So, no. Okay. Where the heck would I have a speaker? Where would I have a speaker? Speaker. No siree, the exact opposite. They are all rescues, and I am of a diet that does not agree with the consumption of animals. That is just me. I'm not pushing my beliefs on anyone. Where the heck is that speaker? I used to have a speaker around here for, oh, trust me, rabbits are one of the most neglected and dumped domestic animals out there. There's plenty that need homes. Where the heck is that speaker? So I usually have a speaker that I could just plug in. I guess I could just steal the whole case of an LC somewhere. But with everything that moved around, I have the top shell, but I don't know where the bottom shell is. But it will work. I just want to be able to hear the startup chime. I don't want to just assume it starts up. I am not the head of an IT company. If I did, I'd make a lot more money. And I'm not a teacher. And I'm not going to tell everyone where I work, because that's going to be weird. You guys are going to show up with logic boards one day. Be like, could you fix this? And be like, I don't know this guy. I get monkey pawed. Oh, boy. Alright, so we are going to... Well, I guess I could just power it on. I want to test with the thing and the... I'm driving everyone crazy, I know. Hold on. I'm just trying to think here. Out loud. Live on camera. Oh, boy. Oh, that's right. The speaker was from the Quadra, and I put that back. There is a speaker for the Quadra 840 AV hanging around somewhere, but I don't know where the heck it is. So we're just going to have to test it without the speaker, I suppose. I could plug in a set of speakers. You know what? Let's do that. Let's plug in a set of speakers. Because I'm not using the set of speakers that are plugged into this Mac Pro, so I'm going to unplug those. Sorry if you're seeing the back of my head for a moment. Okay, so... Now, which is the sound out, which is the sound in? Yes, that's... totally the same thing. Let's do this here. Oh, which is the sound out and which is the sound in? This always screws me up. I'm looking around to see if there's a board here that I could take a look at to give me a clue. Oh, there's I have some more LCs. Oh, I have a speaker I could steal. Hold on one second. Let me grab a speaker. This is the exact case I was messing with before, and of course I could not find it, but I found it. Yay! Yes, this is a Jaguar mousepad from the launch of macOS 10.2 Jaguar. Alright, so we have, this is an LC3 case. It's already, whoopsie. Thank you very much, Kate. I always forget. This is not the customer's case, but is the one I did get this from an e-waste place, and it was all banged up, so there's cracks and stuff, but I don't care. We're just going to test to see if the logic board works. I'm going to prop this up a little bit. That is too high. Let's see. What do we have that we could use that's not conductive? Now we're singing for no reason. Can't carry a tune if someone paid me. Alright, well, we have a plastic bag. You had to look it up. Well, thank you for looking it up. Somebody had to. Newsflash! Mac84 quits to pursue a singing career. Why is he talking like an old-timey guy now? Alright, yeah, that'll give us a good indication if this board wants to work or not. How about that? Alright, so we got a power cable here that needs to be plugged in. And I'm 99.999% sure that this will work. I hope everyone else is just as confident. Alright, let's hear it. 3, 2, 1. Yay! It left us in some suspense there for a while. I got scared. But it works! How about that? Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, that's not the end of this. The guy wanted me to modify... Hello, David. The guy wanted me to modify the logic board to speed it up a little bit. So this is a 25 megahertz. He wanted to speed it up to 33 megahertz. So I will be doing that, just not on this stream. Because I do have to look at the instructions for doing that. And then I have to plug in a monitor and get some software and stuff to do that. But I am glad we're able to figure this out because, my goodness... I was getting quite confused about why this wasn't working. So you're gonna be present for all this. I'm gonna take a picture that's gonna end up being the thumbnail for this video. So good night, Brian. And that'll work maybe, or that'll work. Because I use a generic thumbnail on a lot of these, but I like to update them afterwards so I remember and everyone else remembers what the stream was about. So it works. Fantastic. That is just, it's nice to have a win once in a while, isn't it? So we got that Macintosh Classic board working the other day, and I'm glad to get this one working. So that is awesome. I do have a Macintosh SE30 to revisit, a Color Classic, and I think it's a LC575 or 580 logic board that has no sound. So those are 3 problematic boards I have to revisit, and I will probably be doing very soon. But I'm glad to have this one mostly done. I just have to do that modification there to ensure that we can overclock this per the customer's request. And yeah, but ooh, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm very glad that this is in working condition again. Yes, you can please smash that like button, all 40 something of you that are watching. That'll be very greatly appreciated. Just to give you guys an idea of what's going on in the schedule. Now, I don't really plan my live streams more than an hour or so before I'm going to do them, if that. But just to give you a heads up, I am still cleaning this area. I'll probably do another cleaning stream. I have to, as I was saying in the beginning of the stream, cut a drainage pipe over there so I can move the shelves over there and get everything situated. So I'm hoping I could do that tomorrow, and then we may do a cleaning stream maybe tomorrow night or Thursday night, something like that. Well, Thursday night I can't because it's the Mac84 podcast. If you don't know what the Mac84 podcast is, search for Mac84 on YouTube. Macyak. I am part of the podcast where we talk about all things Mac, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays, and that's what we do. But you live for these kind of videos. Well, thank you, Wilfred. That is awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, so there will be a stream, a cleaning stream. I cannot say that where I'll be tinkering around and cleaning up some things. And what's fun about that is I get to actually make progress with this, but you also see all the crazy Macs and crap that I have. So, yeah, I think I've blathered on a bit too long. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much for all the super chats. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for the likes and subscribes. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, my handle is Mac84TV, so you can check me out there. And thank you very much to all my patrons who are supporting me. Always very, very much appreciated. But that's it for now, and take care, and I will see you guys later. Stay safe, stay healthy. Hopefully you don't have a blizzard by you, and stay warm and cozy. See you later.